The first thing you need to know is that I never wanted trouble with my neighbors. I moved to this quiet cul-de-sac because I thought it would be peaceful. You know, the kind of place where people wave at each other from their driveways, maybe complain about the weather, but mostly keep to themselves. That's how it was, at least until Karen started making my life way more interesting than I ever wanted. Yeah, Karen pictured the textbook suburban enforcer, bob haircut, razor sharp, sunglasses big enough to hide a whole attitude, always with a clipboard and a venti latte glued to her hand. You know the type. There's always one. Now, I'd only been in the neighborhood about 2 years, but Karen made it clear from day one that she was the self-appointed guardian of the HOA rulebook. My mailbox was 2 shades too yellow. I got a letter. My trash can spend a minute too long on the curb. Another letter. You get the idea. But on this particular morning, I was barely paying her any. Mindy had bigger things to worry about. I just come back from court after this drawn-out property line feud with the guy behind me. The judge finally ruled in my favor, but with a catch. I had to post these loud, neon notices along the fence until the county survey crew came to mark the boundary for good. We're talking orange and blue stickers that screamed, "Notice of pending surveydo, not remove." The judge was clear, leave them up, no exceptions. So, the night before, I walked the fence by flashlight, slapping those notices on every post just like I was told. Didn't matter if my neighbor scowled through his window. Rules were rules, and I was finally in the right. Next morning, there's Karen, marching toward my yard like she's inspecting a crime scene. I watch her stop at the first sticker, arms crossed, nose wrinkled, and without missing a beat, she peels it off like she's doing the whole block a favor. I nearly dropped my coffee. I shot across the yard, adrenaline kicking in before I even hit the grass. "Hey," I yelled. She froze, caught mid-crime, that crumpled sticker looking tiny in her perfectly manicured hand. "What are you doing?" I asked, a little out of breath, heart thumping. Karen barely looked at me. "These are an eyesore," she said, like she was explaining something obvious to a child. "You can't just stick whatever you want on your fence, section 3.2.1, the community guidelines, you know." I'm standing there, jaw clenched, pointing at the sticker. "That's a court order, Karen. Those have to stay." She actually laughed. "Oh, come on. You can't just claim something's official and slap it on your fence. We have standards here." I try to keep it together, deep breaths, and all that, but she was already reaching for the next sticker, her mouth curled up in this smug little smile. I pulled out my phone and showed her the judge's order photo, official signature, everything. She barely glanced at it before waving it off. "That's nice, but this is private property, and the HOA charter says no signs, no exceptions." You ever have one of those moments where you know you're about to lose it? That was me. "You don't outrank a judge, Karen. Neither does the HOA, I said as calmly as I could. She just crossed her arms and said, "We have our bylaws. Maybe this isn't the neighborhood for you." That's when I hit record on my phone. "Say that again for the camera, while you tear down a court order," I said. Suddenly she froze, hand hovering in the air, realizing I had her on video. She dropped the sticker and stepped back. I stood there, pulse still racing, watching her march off, muttering about how I was ruining the community spirit. I smoothed the sticker back on, knowing this was far from over. By the time the HOA board meeting rolled around, everyone in the neighborhood had heard about this sticker showdown. Walking into the clubhouse felt like stepping into a courtroom, eyes everywhere. People whispering, Karen already seated at the head of the table, flanked by her loyal board members. She shot me this tight, knowing smile, like she'd already won. The meeting started with the usual boring stuff, but soon Karen cleared her throat and made it official. "Urgent matter regarding violations at Lot 14, she announced. "All eyes on me." She slid a stack of photos across the table, pictures of the stickers, close-ups and wide shots, each one more dramatic than the last. "These unsightly stickers," she declared, "ruin the harmony of our community." I took it upon myself to remove one, but the resident was hostile. I could barely keep from rolling my eyes. Then she called for a vote to fine me until the stickers were removed. That's when I stood up, folder in hand, and slid copies of the judge's order in front of each board member. "Before you vote, you might want to read this," I said. "Court order. These notices are legally required. Remove them, and you're in contempt." The room went silent. paper shuffling the only sound. One of the board members, a woman with glasses and a no-nonsense vibe, read it carefully. The man next to her raised an eyebrow at Karen. Well, be that as it may, Karen started, but I cut her off. Aesthetics don't trump a judge's order, unless you want to explain in court. Karen's face turned pale. The woman in glasses said, "It seems lot 14 is in compliance." That was that her motion died without a second. I sat down, trying not to grin. Karen just glared daggers at me, but for a few days after, she kept her distance. The stickers stayed put, and I almost started to relax. Then, on a Saturday morning, there was a knock at the door. Standing there was a sheriff's deputy, holding a folded paper. "Morning. Are you the owner of Lot 14? My stomach dropped. He handed me a complaint from the HOA. Karen had filed an official violation and a small claims lawsuit for unpaid fines, racking up over $1,500, all because of those stickers. The deputy shrugged, clearly feeling a little bad for me. Just doing my job. I closed the door, anger simmering as I read the fine print. She knew exactly what she was doing. This wasn't about stickers. It was harassment. I called my attorney, and she actually laughed when I explained. She really stepped in it this time. We'll countersue for harassment and damages. Save everything. By the time the hearing came around, I was armed with every scrap of evidence, photos, court orders, even the video of Karen insisting the HOA outranked a judge while peeling off a sticker. Karen came in dressed to kill, pearls and all, clipboard at the ready. But when the judge asked her for proof, all she had were the HOA bylaws and a few dramatic photos. I handed over my whole packet. The judge read through everything, then looked up over his glasses and said, "Ma'am, these notices were issued under my order. Removing or interfering with them could be contempt of court. The defendant is not in violation. On the contrary, you owe him an apology." Karen's jaw literally dropped. The judge dismissed her claim and, in my attorney's request, ordered her to pay my legal fees. I walked out of that courtroom with a smile I couldn't hide. Karen shot me a look that could cut glass, but for once, she was speechless. So here's my question: was Karen just hopelessly committed to the rules, or was she totally out of line? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you got a kick out of this story, smash that like button and stick around for the next wild ride because, trust me, this neighborhood's full of them.